We are Sorted, a group of mates who have your back when it comes to all things food. From cooking battles to gadget reviews
And it's not worth it.
and cookbook challenges to a midweek meal packs app.
Crack your eggs, bake.
We uncover the tools that'll help us all cook and eat smarter. Join our community where everything we do starts with you.
Here we are, another week of lockdown, another week of looking at countless sourdough loaves and banana breads on your social media feed. So, we thought, let's give you 3 different doughs to have a go at. Number 1, an easy naan bread. Then we're going to do steamed bao. And then saving the best till last, it's sourdough chocolate chip cookies. Epic, right? And to save me talking to myself, we're going to dial in our very own resident master baker, James Curry. Hello, James.
Hello, Ben.
Right, should we start with the first one?
Yes.
I'm thinking we know the basic recipe, James, and we've done it before Peshwari style, but I want to mix up the filling and we'll have a play with that later on.
Yeah, okay. I'm interested.
So I've changed it already because it should be plain flour and baking powder, but I've got self-raising, salt, milk, and a little bit of oil. That's it.
Very simple, as bread should be. Are you using self-raising because you couldn't find any plain flour?
Yes, I had a stash of self-raising and I can't find any plain at the moment. 500 grams of that, teaspoon of salt, tablespoon of oil.
It's not very scientific.
Bread is a science-ish. We know that bread started like millennia ago and they weren't weighing stuff out then, were they?
Yeah, but the bread wasn't as good then either. The bread was like a rock. Wait, you didn't put it all in? Did you leave some in?
Don't forget I can hang up on you whenever I want. I was just thinking, don't add it all in at once.
I like that, yeah, I like that.
Turns out, did need that, James. It's like our recipes are tried and tested.
Just be worse.
I'm always just a little bit sceptical because every flour is slightly different in terms of what it absorbs.
I always find that. I don't know how true it is to say that every flour is different, but I always find that I'm adjusting things slightly when I make bread.
Look, what's good about this dough is it's no yeast, obviously no oven because we're going to do it on a grill, but also it's super flexible once you've got the basic right. So I'm just going to add a bit more milk because I don't think my basic was quite right. You can see James wincing. He doesn't like when I go off-piste.
I really am okay with it.
So it's just starting to come together into a ball, but it's not soft yet. It's still kind of crumbly and a bit messy, so it's going to need some work. Oh, I'm working up a sweat in my own kitchen, James. It's better, it's feeling better now. It's more bouncy, it's softer. Right, James, I think we have a dough. We'll leave it to rest for a few minutes and I want to talk you through my filling.
Okay.
James, in a nutshell, what's our Peshwari mix?
Desiccated coconut and mango chutney is the base, and then a load of spices, including black onion seeds.
So in that case, my version isn't that far from that, except I'm using aubergine pickle rather than mango chutney. So it's a bit more of a pickly tart, a bit more heat than the mango chutney, but I'm going to mix it with desiccated coconut, a little bit of brown sugar, because it's not as sweet as the mango chutney, and some freshness from some coriander, I think. So with it all mixed together, you're looking for something like that. This resting is just chill out time. It's not really like, it's not like a prove, is it?
No, it's not like a pre. Well, you know, you would also rest pasta dough just to kind of let it relax a little bit, and actually during that time it does kind of become a bit easier to work with. How long does it rest for?
10 minutes. I don't own a rolling pin, James.
You don't own a rolling pin?
I'm just going to take a chunk out. I'm going to start to preheat my pan as well. Weight of a wine bottle helps.
Ah. Is that your baby hands or is that a big wine bottle?
I do have very small hands, yes, but it is also a Magnum of Malbec.
I see, okay.
So now we're happy with the dough. I'm gonna make myself a little pocket, put some of that mix in. Try to seal it all in before any leaks because it's quite an oily mix because of the chutney. A little bit of flour. I'm gonna roll it out. Uh-oh, I might get some chutney on my wine bottle.
Oh no!
There we go, I've actually got a hole in the middle, but I'm also not that bothered by that because I want some bits to go crispier than others. I remember watching them make them in the kind of the streets of Old Delhi, and it was just mesmerising. to watch how quickly they would flatten them out, roll them out, throw them around, stick them onto the inside of the tandoor, and how quickly they would cook.
It's better to India.
Kind of got the chutney stuff on the inside, a little bit of it burst, but it's kind of naan-shaped-ish, and it's going into a searingly hot cast iron pan.
Oh, it's looking good, it's looking good.
Straight off the hot grill, brushed with butter, little pinch of salt, and it's ideal with just a little dal.
You snuck that out. That came from the freezer, didn't it?
It did come from the freezer, James, absolutely. And then look at that, tear into it, and you've got that filling in there as well. A couple little bits of that. Boom. There we go, James. Our first bread.
Happy with that. That looks good. It's like a sweat, like you're getting a sweat on.
It has got a kick to it, but it's also got the sweet nuttiness of the coconut and the brown sugar. The buttery saltiness we finished it with, and it'll mop up that dal a treat. Dough number 2 is bao. Steamed bao with just 2 ingredients, self-raising flour and coconut milk. It's a cheats version, and that's about all I know, because this is your recipe, James. You're gonna have to talk me through it.
It is, well, I say it's my recipe. It's a recipe that I found somewhere, and we are including it in a book that we're writing right now. It's very similar to other recipes like yogurt and self-raising flour as well. It's just fat and flour and raising agent, which is already in the flour, put together, and these ones are just rolled out and steamed in bun shapes.
So no yeast, dairy-free, because it's using the coconut milk, plus no prove. I like the sound of it. Can you remember off the top of your head the weights?
I believe it is 500 grams of self-raising flour and 400 grams of coconut milk, which is also useful because you can get a 500 gram bag of flour, so you use up an entire bag of flour and an entire tin of coconut milk, nothing left over.
I mean, that's definitely idiot-proof. This looks very wet, James.
So with this, I'd probably just add a little bit of flour to the work surface and add it to my hands.
This is a lovely dough. How much kneading?
So once it's come together, I didn't need it at all.
All right then, how big do we want to make these?
Slightly bigger than a golf ball, perhaps. I always cut little squares of baking paper out rather than put them all on the same one, so you can just pick them out and peel the square off.
So I'm happy with the dough. Start shaping a few.
You're kind of making a little kind of oblong shape type thing.
And a little bit of oil.
A little bit of oil in the middle.
The important thing is they're all the same thickness, and then fold them over like that.
That's it. And the trade-off with these is that they're a little bit denser than a normal bao bun.
And I think you're right in terms of trade-off, because that was so simple. And whack on your greaseproof. And we always say it. I mean, that bamboo steamer cost me about £4 about 4 years ago. But if you haven't got one, a colander over a pan of steaming water will work. I'll tell you what, we'll have a go. I'll put it on top of the pan. We'll come back in 10 minutes or so and check them. They might need 15. And let me talk to you about my filling. It's super simple. I just had some pork mince that I fried off with ginger and garlic. And then I added 2 simple sauces, some sambal and some plum sauce. Seasoned it with soy, and that's literally it. So it's kind of sticky and sweet, salty, fatty pork, some fresh spring onions, some fresh ginger, and we're just going to put all that in there and see what happens.
I'm getting jealous again.
There we go, James.
Hey!
Not super puffy.
But they should be slightly firmer, slightly glossy, quite hot. They should be fairly hot. Be generous, Ebbers.
Tiny little bit of ginger, tiny little bit of spring onion.
What are those, sesame seeds?
Little black sesame seeds, because I've got them. Do you know what, James? I like that.
That was very quick.
Now the moment of truth. That is a lot softer to eat than it is to look at. I genuinely thought they were going to be quite dense, but that's actually really, really good.
It does everything a bao needs to do.
And the thing with 90% of the fillings you put into them, they tend to be quite rich, quite fatty or sweet or saucy like this pork. And therefore, you're right, it's so good. I wish you could try them.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.
I'm gonna give this one a go. Number 3, our sourdough cookie dough. And they make incredible cookies. Ingredients-wise, pretty classic. Sugar, egg, butter, flour, salt, dark chocolate, and I put hazelnuts and maybe a grating of orange zest. But sourdough starter, the discard. When you get rid of half every day, if you're not baking with it, it goes into this mixture. Do you always bake with your discard, or do you have other uses for it, or is it discarded?
I have often discarded it, and it's weird. Since we've been in lockdown, I've been seeing all sorts of recipes for sourdough discard that I could have used, like pancakes, and now you're giving me another one that I haven't heard of.
Caveat, this is a recipe from Lance the baker, Lance Gardner. He's not a gardener, he's a baker. It's his recipe and I've just changed some of the flavours and stuff. Melted butter, egg and sugar, and you just bring it together. You kind of want to, I think the original recipe was to whisk it, but you know me, I'll always find a shortcut. I've weighed out all of these ingredients, except for the starter. Teaspoon of salt, and it will look like a relatively dry cookie mix, because the other bit you're adding is your starter. It's just been plain flour and water in equal weight, and then leave it a day, get rid of half, and then equal again. So every single time I'm going to add in 100 grams into this. So the basic cookie mixture was from Lance the Baker, but I'm adding dark chocolate, hazelnuts, and the zest of orange. Chocolate and hazelnut's pretty classic, but the orange is a nice touch as well. So yes, you can just use this like cookie dough now, but what I like to do, because nobody needs this much cookie dough when you're on your own, is just roll it up into a log in greaseproof paper and chill it or freeze it even. The irony is, James, I told you I tested it last week, is here's one I made earlier. So lots of cookie dough, and then you can just slice off discs as and when you want them and bake them. So it's like having cookie dough on hand whenever you want. That goes back in the fridge or freezer, job done. A little pinch of sea salt. I'm gonna put a couple of those hazelnuts that I've got left in as well.
I quite like that. I like the pushing in.
170 degrees, 15 minutes. Although they're soft now and you want to leave them a little bit, you can actually get them off and onto a rack. They're not like a shortbread that you have to leave. Very, very rich, but that is partly because of the excessive amount of dark chocolate. Right, they need to cool down before I taste them and tell you just how good they are. In the meantime, I'll get some sexies. I think, James, while they're still slightly warm, now's the time to break in.
Yeah.
Look at that. So it's a kind of cross between bready, cakey, and cookie-like.
I think I can imagine it. I mean, that sounds silly.
Any freshly baked cookies are going to be good, but these are pretty special.
And you can taste the sourdough, right?
I think if you didn't tell me it was there,
Yeah.
I would struggle to identify it. But it gives it like a real extra dimension. There we go, grilled and filled naan, steamed coconut bao, and sourdough chocolate chip cookie dough made into cookies. Epic. I'm gonna have to say goodbye now, James, because I've got a lot of food to eat.
That's okay, mate. I will see you next time.
Bye, James.
Bye.
If you want to see more doughs, comment down below which doughs you'd love us to demonstrate. If we're still in lockdown, James can do them. If not, we'll do them together.
We've also built the Sorted Club, where you can get tons of foodie inspo using the Pax Midweek Meal app, discover and share restaurant recommendations using the Eat app, listen and contribute to our Feast Your Ears podcast, and send us ideas for new cookbooks you'll receive throughout the year. Check it all out by heading to sorted.club. And now a blooper.
Actually, sometimes fisting it just works.
Right, there's no need though, is there?